Chapter 34. The evolving consciousness within the holographic planetary system arises out of the individual conscious awareness, as it perceives itself within the whole. The perception of what that wholeness includes varies in accordance with what is experienced. Until the advent of the technological era, these individual experiences were influenced by the belief system that was absorbed from the family environment, followed by those acquired within expansion into larger group experience. Cosmology, the understanding of how the individual fits into the perceived plan of the galaxy, universe, was taught by symbology within story, art, and dance. This allowed for each to contemplate their place and encouraged each to quest to know and understand. With the advent of the printed word followed by graphic technology and the use of it for the manipulation of mankind into slavery, this process has been virtually lost. If the technology had been used to assist the individual to know and understand what truth is available rather than keeping the key information hidden or distorted, mankind would not be within the present dilemma. Thus it is that these messages are given in the hope that the small amount of truth and wisdom within its pages will entice the reader, messengers, to desire to again quest for understanding of who and what they are. This is not done, except by the few intent upon self-discovery, within the current planetary situation. This inherent right to know is denied from early childhood on through maturation, as the present circumstances are now. Those in the more technologically advanced cultures are overwhelmed with misinformation, and those in the less advanced cultures are existing at extreme poverty levels. It is difficult to wonder about a place in the plan of the cosmos when need of basic food and shelter are in the forefront of consciousness. Further, technology has been turned to cause the human body to literally self-destruct through weakening its foods with growing techniques, incompatible food combinations, genetic alterations to the plants, adding abrasive ingredients, and cooking in fashions that alter the molecular arrangement of the foods. These are affecting the ability of the human body and the plants and animals to reproduce in perfection. The seriousness of the situation is realized by a few that attempt to spread the warnings. Without help from those with a great understanding of methods of regaining perfection, there will follow generations of imperfect bodies as a result. Though it is the purpose of these messages to offer a plan for transcending the planetary dilemma, it is necessary that those who accept this mission fully understand that humanity on this planet is in direful straits that are worsening at a rapid pace. It is necessary that the end of this situation be reached soon, for as the damaged humans reproduce, the return of the next generations to perfection becomes more complicated as the mutations begin to scatter into dominant and recessive gene combinations. Within the generation of the acquired damage, these imperfections are yet correctable. The evil of the plan to produce slaves includes these mutations, for imperfect bodies set the stage for belief of inferiority as well as the real affects to the physical brains and bodies. With the addition of technological implants, the slavery would be virtually complete and provide far more control than those methods employed now. It is not intended to place information in these messages to frighten the readers into buying into its plan. The overview would not be complete so that logical and intelligent decisions could be made if at least an encapsulated picture of the situation and circumstances that are present was not included. The truth of what has been stated above is available in book, magazine, website, and radio. Portions of it are included in the media-controlled programs, but go unnoticed. It is then in truth that it can be stated that they told you so and that you paid no attention. They knew that amid the clutter, few would put it together or pay attention to those that did. Of further note is the fact that through the United Nations, the military forces are being scattered throughout the world. This is for the reason that many would not enforce the coming orders against their own people, but with the ethnic and national rivalries, could and will against those of other nations, cultures, and particularly those of other religions. If the attention is placed only on the situation and circumstances that surround you at every turn, then overwhelm is experienced, and that is exactly what it is desired for those of you who are awakening. It is the reason there is no concern about their plans being revealed at this stage. That it is yet possible to gather a focus with power enough to thwart their plans even now does not occur to them. Thus, there is yet the freedom to implement project new paradigm. Shall we proceed? Chapter 35. It is through the application of the law of allowance that mankind will make the final step into the role of the rainbow human. The archetype of the warrior that has influenced the shaping of mankind's experience shall at long last evolve into the ideal of the responsible cosmic citizen. It is perfectly possible to adventure in a role beyond the warrior. Only other warriors within the game of conflict welcome warriors. Those who have evolved beyond walking this dead-end path do not welcome conflict back into their experience. The freedom to move freely among those of more refined development allows for more rapid advancement. As within a maze, eventually it is necessary to face the wall at the end and accept it as the end, and stay there, or to find the way back to the correct passageway. The new paradigm is a gift that will enable humanity to rise above the maze to see the true passageway and move quickly into it. This will not happen without the necessary consciousness change and the period of focus required through the chaos of the demise of the current mode of experience that is based on competition and conflict. The desire for the new experiencing mode must become a passion that exceeds the inclination to stay within what is familiar. The realization that something far better waits at the closure of this experiencing mode must be real within the belief system and be strong enough to transcend the mass beliefs of not only millions, but billions. It is through the demonstration of the power of a combined human focus that blends with the wisdom of creation that each will know the truth. It is not to be found in resistance to the situation that exists on this earth plane, but in joining with that which is truth that will bring forth what seems to require a miracle to accomplish. Unimaginable power will be tapped in this process. It simply requires changing the focus of the combined minds of a percentage of mankind. It is not a majority, it is an amazingly small actual number of humans on Earth comparatively speaking, for these will blend with the flow that creates planets, stars, solar systems, galaxies, and more. The process is simple. The complication is that it requires standing and turning into the face of what has been taught for generation after generation by doing it within each individual consciousness. It does not require face-to-face confrontation with those that continue to teach these untruths. Most do this in sincerity. It is through one-to-one contacts with those that already feel discontent with available knowledge at the deep levels of their personal awareness, that the mission is to be accomplished. There are more than enough that sense they are swimming upstream and are ready and willing to rejoin the flow of creation. They wait only to know how to accomplish this change. The archetype of the rainbow human calls to all, for it is like a homing signal that perpetually sounds in the background of life. It is like the dinner bell ringing in the distance to come home to share refreshment and rest with family. In this case, humanity has wandered far from home and has some distance to cover, but it will arrive there sooner or later, and hopefully it will be sooner. The focus has been at the very personal level for each mess singer as each goes through the process of strengthening his or her understandings and resolve. It is not easy to commit to a project of this magnitude without establishing the intent firmly within the conscious mind. The mind and the feelings must be in harmony and balance in order that the resolve is of enough substance to hold firmly through the period of the shift in consciousness. That which is now new must have time to root and become the dominant viewpoint from which experiences are perceived and decisions made with discernment. An amazing number of life situations will suddenly take on new meanings. Habitual comments that fit certain situations will no longer be appropriate, and there will be moments of wondering what is appropriate. There will be rethinking necessary, requiring a transition period. There will be many returns to the messages to contemplate new meanings that were missed when first read. Truth is perceived within the understanding of the moment and is constantly refreshed as different experiences are contemplated and decisions are necessary for the discernment needed to establish new patterns of belief and behavior. There is much to transcend in order that each may stand at the end of this chapter of the Book of Evolvement and contemplate not only a new chapter, but also a sequel. This will be done day by day and one mind change at a time. The biggest single change is the willingness to read, contemplate, and find the personal truth within with the guidance of these messages. Beyond that, the steps are small and continuously lead onward to the goal of living the new ideal or archetype moment by moment. When the new archetype is embedded within the mass consciousness, the new paradigm will be birthed into infancy and the adventure will have begun in earnest. Then you may choose to walk hand in hand with your family again, for you will have returned home for sustenance and companionship. A worthy trade-off for giving up excessive competition, conflict, and isolation. End chapter 35.